Hey, what's going on? It's Ryan Stewman here, President and CEO of Break Free Academy and your favorite blogger over at hardcorecloser.com. And this thing that I have right here in my hand is a phone. In case you didn't know, it's an iPhone X. It's the latest at this time. And no, it is not better than the 7. And I totally missed the little thumbprint. Do you think, just a little sidetrack here, do you think Apple might have actually fingerprinted us all and now they have facial recognition records of all of us? Maybe we have given them entirely too much information. So anyway, I want to talk to you about some mistakes to avoid while trying to close deals on the phone today. You see, this thing right here can be an ATM for you. I mean, you can make unlimited money. I can tell you, I've made millions of dollars from the phone. And at the same time, for many people, this is their worst nightmare and like an explosive device that they keep in their pocket that could detonate and go off at any time. And today I'm going to talk to you about the difference between the two, the people like myself that make money from the phone and people that screw up. I almost dropped an F-bomb there. I'm trying to keep this clean in case we run ads to it. You see what I'm saying? But people that screw up and use these phones and end up blowing deals. And number one is people get on the phone and they think that a phone is made for talking. But when you're in a sales call, a phone is made for listening. You see, there's two things that salespeople need in order to make sales. Number one is empathy. And the only way that you can get empathy for a person so that they can understand that you're empathetic towards them is by listening. And the best way to get a person talking is by asking questions. See, this is not a talking device for salespeople. This is a contact, communication, and listening device for salespeople. See, the more that you listen to people, the better chance you have of actually closing them. Because think about it, people's spouses don't listen to them. Their employees don't listen to them. Their bosses don't listen to them. Their kids don't listen to them. Their friends don't listen to them. The people on social media don't listen to them. And so you as a salesperson, when you actually have the phone, if you'll just shut up and listen to the person that's actually talking on the phone, then they'll understand that you're empathetic towards their situation. And now listen, when somebody understands that, you can't just say, oh, I'm totally empathetic. And they go, oh, thank you. You're so empathetic. That's awesome. Take my money. That's not how it works. Instead, you have to listen and say things like, absolutely, I understand. And then what? Man, that's horrible. Or man, that's awesome, right? You have to show them that you're actively listening. A lot of people I'll see they have earbuds in or like AirPods or whatever, and they'll just be scrolling on the phone, like not paying attention, scrolling social media and everything else while they're trying to have a phone conversation. They're not actively listening. And listen, people can feel you through the phone. We've been communicating through phones since the 1940s, I believe. And, you know, especially through smartphones since 2000 and probably 3 since smartphones came out. And so people can tell if you're not actively listening to them. They may ask you a question and you say, do what? Right? Because you weren't paying attention to them. So you want to actively listen. And when you actively listen, people feel like, especially prospects, they feel like, wow, this person's actually paying attention to me. They're doing something that nobody else has done for me in a long time. They actually care and they understand my situation. So that's part one. Part two is you have to be confident. Because once you've garnered that empathy with the person and they understand that you understand their situation, then the next thing is you have to confidently diagnose the solution to their problem. In other words, once you've listened to them and you understand that it's not a lack of money, it's not a lack of need, it's not a lack of resources, there's something that the person on the other end of this phone is missing, and it's your job to listen, to identify that, to ask the questions and to listen. So many people ask a question, then they ask another question, they just ask another question, just hear themselves talk. You have to actively listen. And then once you've listened and you understand their situation, you have to confidently diagnose their problem and offer your product or service as a solution. That's all it takes, two things, empathy and confidence. But see, most people pick up this phone and they start feature dumping. Hey man, you know what? I've got this and that. We can do this for you and that for you. And with this promise, that promise, this thing, this awesome thing, this thing, that. And that's not exactly how it works at all, right? The key should be he who speaks the least makes the most. You should get on the phone, ask open-ended questions, and spend as much time listening as you can. And when they stop talking, ask them certain simple questions like, and then what? And what else? Okay. Well, then what happens? And ask them these open-ended questions to keep digging deeper, because what you're ultimately trying to uncover as a salesperson is what I call pillow talk. You see, when two people that are in love and live together and have a relationship to where they have to talk about real stuff, they roll over in the middle of the night and they say, honey, we need more money to do X. Honey, if we don't get X in our life, we won't get Y result. And what you're trying to do as a salesperson is uncover that pillow talk, the thing that keeps them awake at night, speaking with their spouse about their struggles. And so that's what the only way that we can do that, the only way we can identify that is by listening. So this is not a talking device for salespeople. This is a listening device. Now, listen, I know what you're thinking. You think, well, the phone's made for talking. You're supposed to pick up the phone. You're supposed to sell people. You know, my favorite thing about my business is a lot of times I'll get off of a sales call where somebody's paid me a handsome amount of money. And they'll say, man, you know, like Stewman's not that really good of a salesperson. It's like I had to talk him into taking my money. Well, that's the whole key of being a hardcore closer, right? Is you have people trying to close you. And so what happens, a lot of people, they think, man, you know, I got off the phone and that guy totally talked me into giving him my money. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that or not. I'd much rather have the previous statement where somebody said, man, I had to talk that guy into taking my money, as opposed to, I'm not sure if I made the right decision. That guy kind of talked me out of my money. And so pick up the phone and use it as a listening device. That's the biggest mistake that most people use. And remember, you only need 2 things to close sales. So when you're on the phone making sales, remember to ask questions so that you can garner empathy. And that and again, you can't tell them you're empathetic. They have to come to the realization. There has to be a point where the light bulb goes off in their head that says, oh man, this guy gets my situation. He understands me. And at that point, it's your job to do part 2 and be confident and confidently diagnose them with their problem and using your service or your product as the solution. Now listen, if you'd like to learn more about how you can make money from the phone and how you can become a better salesperson, because that's just one of the things, like actively listening is just one. There's text message, emails, apps, direct message. There's all sorts of stuff that you could do from this phone. I could go on and on and on about it, but we teach that in our programs. I have a free video that I'd like for you to watch that'll teach you how to use the phone, how to market, how to run advertising, and the mindset that you need in order to be successful, because this video that you're watching seemingly seems like a sales video, but really what it is I just changed your mind about how sales are done. So if you'll go over to BFA, that's short for Break Free Academy, BFAentourage.com, then just watch the free video over there. There's nothing for sale, there's nothing like that, but it's a video that you'll be able to watch that will change your perspective on sales, it'll change your perspective on life, and ultimately change the way that you do things in your business that'll lead you to having success in areas that you never before thought were possible. So head over to BFAentourage.com, and I'll see you over there on that video.